into the future.
Hey Eagles, welcome back to Landstown Listens, the podcast by students for students. We're here to keep you connected with everything happening around Landstown High School, from upcoming events and school news to student spotlights, sports updates, teacher interviews, and more. Join us as we dive into the latest buzz, share stories from our peers, and celebrate what makes our school special.
Hey Eagles, welcome back to Landstown Listens. I'm your host Zach, and today we will be talking to a few teachers about their opinions on one lunch versus Eagle Block. I'm joined now by Miss Hitchings. Hi Miss Hitchings, thank you for joining us here on Landstown Listens.
Hi, Zach. How are you?
I'm great. Just to get, oh my goodness, just get a couple questions, to break the ice, you know. What do you teach?
I teach family and consumer sciences. So my classes actually are independent living and intro to design.
Nice, I was a part of one of those classes. How long have you been teaching for?
I've been teaching since 1994, so quite a while. But I also have been at Landstown since it opened. I've been here since 2001.
Nice.
I'm an OG.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that. You have definitely told me before. All right. So I'm going to start with the first question. What are the benefits of one lunch compared to Eagle Block, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think One Lunch was a very good opportunity to get to know kids a lot better. I always have had, or during One Lunch, I had kids in my room all the time, and it really helped me to get to know them as people, and they've been with me for years. So I have the same people all the time, and it makes it for a fun time during lunch.
So you like one lunch compared to
I'm
Eagle
definitely
Block?
a one luncher.
Nice. I think so too. All right. What are the benefits of Eagle Block compared to one lunch?
Well, Eagle Block actually has a lot of benefits academically in that it gives kids an opportunity to go to tutoring. It gives kids an opportunity to make up work. It gives kids an opportunity to get some enrichment activities if they need them. And it gives, especially the teachers too, an opportunity to kind of sit back and maybe do some one-on-one work with students.
So you've had kids coming in your class to get more extra work and stuff?
Not so much extra work, but to make up
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm. They'll make up tests and do all that stuff during Eagle
Just a
Block.
good opportunity to get all of it done.
Yeah, and with them being forced to go to Eagle Block, it's not like they can forget because they're being forced to come to my classroom. They're also being, same thing if a kid needs extra help, they're being forced to come. So you don't have to try and hunt them down or pray that they show up.
Yeah. All right. As a teacher, which one do you prefer?
Oh, I'm a one luncher.
No.
I feel like it's, well, okay, hold on. Let me think for a sec.
Okay.
You got to give me a minute on this one. No, but I definitely am. I'm a one luncher. I feel like it's part of the issue is it's their lunchtime. So I don't think necessarily an extension of class is a good thing because they spend so much time in class. I also am a huge proponent of social emotional learning in that I feel like these kids don't talk to each other enough. So you know me, take your headphones off, actually have a conversation with people.
Yep. Brain break.
Give your brain a break. I hate AirPods. I'm so excited they're gonna be gone. But no, I've at least with the group that I have in my room, they're not on their phones the entire time. They're actually socializing. They're actually being kids. They're actually developing friendships in real life, which to me is important.
Yeah.
And I think especially since COVID, that's something that we are lacking. So I like one lunch in that the kids can go where they want to go, be with who they want to be with, as opposed to being forced to go back to their class or, the other flip side to that is sometimes I'll end up with a lot of kids in my room because I have my class plus the kids that I have had for 2 and 3 years, so
Yeah. I also want to ask a question about the pass situation.
the pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we used, what was it, Eagle Hall Pass?
Yep.
Eagle Hall Pass last year with the one lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just going to regular paper passes. What is your opinion on the paper passes versus the Eagle Hall Pass?
Well, the e-hall pass, it just made it easier for teachers to be able to track kids. Whereas the paper passes, I think, are actually better because I'm not, as you know, how many passes do I hand out a day? Probably 15.
Yeah.
And for me to sit there and type in all the e-hall passes for 15 kids every day is crazy. Whereas I can print it out and your name's there, where you're going, my name, all of that stuff is right there. So it's just multiple printed out. You guys know you come in my room, we date it together, and you take off with your pass.
Yeah, so the Eagle Hall Pass was just a lot of extra work.
Yeah, but I don't know how many people actually looked at it because how much your teacher's really on their
Yeah.
At least for me, I try and make Eagle Block a time that I can sit there and talk to people, and I don't need the thing pinging in my ear every 2 seconds because somebody's putting in a pass. And the paper passes also give me control, so randomly anybody could be putting in my name on e-hall passes.
Yeah. All right, well, that is all the questions we have for you today. Thank you so much again for joining us on Landstown Listens. Before you go, do you have any advice for our listeners?
I hope everybody has a safe break. When we come back, please just give grace to the whole cell phone rule. It's, at least for me, it's above it's above all of our pay grades. So, it's just, if someone asks you to put it away, put it away. You don't need to give them an attitude. You don't need to, we don't want to do it, but
Yeah.
we have to.
Yep. All right, well, thank you, Ms. Hitchings, for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Hey Eagles, welcome back to Landstown Listens. I'm your host, James, and today we will be talking to a few teachers about their opinions on one lunch versus Eagle Block. I'm joined now by Mr. Brunel.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Brunel. Thank you for joining us to Landstown Listens.
I'm happy to be here.
Okay, to get started, what do you teach and how long have you been teaching?
So I've been teaching overall for about 10 years. As you know, some of that was in Thailand and in Florida. But I teach oceanography. I've also taught biology, but oceanography has really been my focus for the majority of my career.
Yeah.
And I love that subject. As you know, because you were in my class, I really like talking about the ocean.
What are the benefits of one lunch compared to Eagle Block?
Well, are we talking about how one lunch was run last year? Or how it's run in other schools?
How it was last year?
I think both of them have like their upsides and downsides. I think what I liked a little bit more about Eagle Block last year is it was a little bit easier to hold things like club meetings, so you could kind of set aside a time. There wasn't, coordinating a lot of paper passes and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it was also a little bit easier to keep children accountable for being in class because, there was a separate place to take roll and everything, and so if somebody doesn't show up, you could mark them as unexcused absent. But I know on the administrative side, there was a lot of trouble, one with getting teachers to set up their classes and do what they're supposed to. And the other, clearing the nest.
Yes.
Clearing that was kind of an issue. But I think I do prefer the way it's run this year just because since there is a set schedule, I can write passes for students if I really need to see them. But if for some reason they're busy in their other classes, I have a guaranteed slot when they'll come and see me.
And you can plan too.
Exactly.
You have a planning block.
Right. It is nice having that 2 days in a row where I don't have to meet with students. I get that extra hour. But nowadays, for instance today, when I have students come and see me, I know I have that like guaranteed time.
Yeah.
And so if we need help, that's a great time to get it,
Yeah.
to give them feedback on things like projects and to make sure that, they're caught up with their assignments.
Because I remember last year you're stressed. You were beyond stressed because everything was like hectic and everything.
Yeah, especially when it first started last year, it was very unorganized.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we brought
Yeah.
it together towards the end of the year, but I do prefer how it is now. The only downside is, if somebody doesn't show up for Eagle Block, it's difficult to find out, did they get signed out early,
Yeah.
or are they skipping, or did they just forget to get their pass signed?
You don't know where they are.
So that's a little less accountability, and I think that's one of the flaws that really needs to be addressed.
And as a teacher, which one do you deeply prefer?
Now that I've gotten used to it, I prefer Eagle Block. Just like I said, that guaranteed time is really helpful. It's also nice because, for instance, the last 2 days, I have my planning block during second block, and so when I have second block, Eagle Block, I get an extra hour.
To plan.
To plan, or honestly to take a little brain break.
Yeah.
And eat my lunch, not feel like I have to like rush through, talk to some of my coworkers and things like that.
Actually spend your time without having a second thought.
Right, and
Yeah.
I've got a fourth block oceanography class, so that can be my time to like set up a lab or make sure things are straightened out. Think about how I might want to do things differently in that
yeah.
class. Yeah.
Thanks for tuning to Landstown Listens. We hope you enjoyed this episode and feel more connected to what's happening around our school. Remember, this podcast is all about you, the students. So if you have any story ideas, events to share, or topics you want us to cover, reach out to Miss E. Rogers to let us know. This is Landstown Listens. Until next time.
Time fly into the future.